Thank you, Dalton. Next up is one of my favorite Wichitans. He's a digital editor. That is challenging to say. Digital editor. And he's a reporter at KMUW. Please welcome Hugo Phan.
So to explain how I have a stake in the American dream, I have to talk about how I got here and how my parents got here. So I am the son of Vietnamese refugees. They came here in the 80s. They were what you referred to back then as boat people. They met in Malaysia. My dad was a mailman. My mom received the mail. I have yet to live up to this romantic, display, but maybe one day I'll get there. And they believed in three things. They believed in democracy, they believed in free speech, and they believed in freedom of religion. You see, crossing the ocean was difficult for them. My mom lost 2 sisters in that trip, and it was hard and traumatic for them. And they were escaping something that was also hard and traumatic. They went through some re-education camps. They went through some awful stuff in post-war Vietnam. So they imagined a world here. They wanted to be able to move ahead and get forward in life. So they settled here, after some time. My grandpa was already here. He was taken in by the Catholic diocese. So, that was part of their religion, their way of life, the thing that kind of got them through. So when they got here, he started out in Plainview, Kansas, which is where a lot of Vietnamese families started out. And if you know anything about Plainview, Kansas, the housing that's there was built in the 50s. And it was supposed to be temporary housing and not supposed to be there for that long, but it was. And it got passed down to a lot of Vietnamese refugees, and we kind of grew up in a lot of poverty. But, my parents, like many of people in this town, started working in aviation. Was able to kind of uproot our lives to the west side in about the mid-90s. So I lived a pretty typical American childhood, but I was a little different, I was not the same as the other kids. And when you think about it, it's difficult just to learn to live in this country alongside your parents who are doing the same thing. We're learning to do that at the same time. So they didn't have anything to kind of pass on to me. So we all had to learn together. And we found a community here. There's a lot of other Vietnamese people that live here. We traded information. And also, I became obsessed with pop culture. I watched MTV and VH1 all day, and I learned about what other Americans were like and how they grew up and what the American mindset was. And you learn that it's a melting pot, and that people had different ideas, and it's not all the same. Not like when you're at school, when they tell you that the American dream is this thing where you have to have 2 kids and a white picket fence, and it all seemed very, systematic. You're put into a system, you have to generate value for us. And it just didn't seem like it fit my personal belief. So I came of age in the Obama era. And when you think about the Obama era and how he viewed the American dream, it was kind of like he described it as the politics of hope, where we have to negotiate with each other what we want for each other. And, growing up at that time, I believed that too, that we should want better things for each other, that we should, think about the well-being of our fellow Americans. But that becomes difficult as, in this day and age, because we want different things. We don't want the same things for each other. But it's important to have an American dream, to want something for your fellow Americans because it's about community and it's about progress. And whatever you picture in your mind, like what the American dream could be, it could be better, than that. It doesn't have to be that thing. It's about progress. So that's what I believe. It's not important to just desire American dream, but to have one, to have a shared one with each other. Thank you.